All right, guys, bang, bang. I'm here.
That's what you do?
This guy.
Bang, bang?
Just bang, bang. You want us to try it?
That's what Eddie does.
What? Who's Eddie?
It's a guy here who does I'm starting a podcast after this, and that's what he does. Bang, bang.
Well, he has to pay royalties on that.
Who was doing first?
Me, obviously. You just hit us with bang, bang real quick.
No, I won't do that. I'm not going to do other people's shticks.
All right, let's just start with you have made this grand entrance into the finance world and absolutely lit it on fire. Basically just got on Twitter one day, started live streaming, and basically blew up all the scams, all the whatever. Why did you do it?
Well, sports was discontinued, and I was looking for, and we were slowly getting ready to move out of the office. So I was looking for something to pass the time. I mean, it is gambling. I like gambling.
It's definitely gambling.
It's 100% gambling. It's
just a legal casino.
Exactly. It's walking into a casino. Yep. Anybody who says otherwise is a liar, and you shouldn't trust them. So I love gambling, and I was looking for something to do. I mean, I had bought a couple stocks way back when, so I had an E-Trade account, I think, with Twitter in it, and that's it. So I just started trading a couple stocks, made I didn't start with the live stream. I put on a suit, pretended it was, my own Wall Street. It's like, oh, this is interesting. And people gravitated towards it right away. And I'm in the content business first and foremost. So it's like, okay, if people are interested in doing this, I'll do it. We live streamed gambling before, sports gambling, and people are into that, watching you win, lose money, no different than stock market.
So I feel like you have this resurgence. Like you did all the content for a really long time. Then the Penn deal happened. You kind of were like doing business stuff, a little bit of content. Mm-hmm. And then when the pandemic hit, you just went hard at the content again. It kind of reminded everyone like this place is here because that's what you did for years and years and years. Right.
Early days.
Yeah. And so I think that people kind of had forgotten that you're just a degenerate gambler at heart. Right. And the stock market's no different if you treat it that way. Correct. Right.
So, Davey Page views, like that's the name from way back. Like I can get paid views for anything. That's what I used to call myself. And it really was. I was all content. Like, that's all I did. Maybe like a little business, but once really with the Chernin deal and moving forward, I do a lot more on the business side. I don't have nearly as much time for the content, which I missed to a degree. But quarantine and Corona, when you're isolated in your own office, there's not much business stuff or not nearly as much going on. I got heavy into the content game.
All right. So I want to talk about Penn first, then we'll go talk about Bitcoin stuff. In 2016, you do the Chernin deal.
Yep.
Most people say horrible deal. Where you sit now, hindsight, pretty good deal.
You mean horrible deal in what sense?
Like the whole tech world is like, oh my God, I can't believe he sold more than 50% of the business for like whatever. But based on what I know, like you guys pretty much needed help to scale the business. And so would you do that deal again?
Yeah. I mean, Chernin, it's such an interesting answer because, and it's no different than the Penn deal to a degree, there were no other offers. Like nobody, and anybody who was interested, the conversations were quickly shut down because I was making a lot of money. That maybe like
personally.
Correct. Yeah. I was making 7 figures and our company was doing well and I was making more than I ever thought. And so I had no aspirations necessarily to take an investor or sell it. In the Chernin guys, Mike Kearns, who reached out, he was a believer in the content. And it wasn't like, hey, we want to change it. It was like, you do you. Let's add some fire. Let's get a CEO, ramp up the business. But I didn't have anything to evaluate it. It wasn't like a bidding war. There weren't people knocking down. If that deal didn't happen, nobody was buying it. You had to basically accept the risk and the negative perceptions, which I think are all false, of Barstool. But it is... it wasn't a wedding registry that's safe. There was some element of risk there. So was the valuation extremely low? Yes. Was the first offer Mike Kearns made to me insulting? Yes. Was, in hindsight, it not enough?
What was the first one?
I think $7 million.
$7 million valuation?
Yeah.
And you got them all the way up to 15?
It was like 12 and a half.
All right. But to be fair, like that's pretty good negotiating on your part. Mike's no pushover when negotiating.
Well, I think he went so low. Kearns, he's a professional. And the Chernin guys are professional negotiators.
Yeah, they're super legit. They know what they're doing. Totally. So if you moved it from 7 to 12, like you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it was so fucking low. and by the way, it's like I had a number in my head. I don't negotiate. So 7's like, okay. I think I was just like, no, I'll see you later. And then it's like, well, it's going to have to be 12 and a half. And then maybe it was back and forth, and that's what it is. And Kearns will probably say that. I am probably, and I wouldn't say I'm a good negotiator, but I say the price, and that's it. And if you like, we
have 2 data points. You also did it with Call Her Daddy. Same thing.
Correct.
Here's the price. Take it or leave it.
And we had a little sticking point with, to be honest, the Penn deal. And it's like I needed Chernin to ante something up. And
what was it?
I can't get into the details, but
Okay.
it got testy. And there was one call at one point where it's like, why don't we split it? Why don't we do this? It's like, I don't think you're hearing me. It's like, I'll walk away from everything or it's this. But I also am too low. Now, again, Chernin brought credibility, like expertise.
Erica?
Well, no, I brought Erica.
Oh, you brought Erica. Okay.
Yeah. So they brought all of that to the table. They were the only, so they get credit and huge credit for seeing it, taking the risk, being the one who offered. No different than Penn. Like hindsight, Penn looks like they got an awesome deal. Yeah. Guess what? We met with everybody else, FanDuel, DraftKings. Nobody made an offer. Like,
why? Are they scared of you? Are they scared of the content? Are they scared of just the perception and the controversy?
I think there were two major factors. Scared of me, controversy, A. B, we had worked with them for a while. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of thought, hey, we've gotten everything out of Barstool. We've gotten their audience.
But you guys, I mean, in a way, built those companies.
I would say absolutely.
Okay. I was explain that a little bit.
So we were working with the daily fantasy companies before DraftKings existed, I believe. FanDuel, Draft Street, a lot of early ones. And when I say early, like nascent, like they were starting. We had this big blackout tour that was a concert tour we did and became wildly popular and huge. That was started because Draft Street, which was later bought by DraftKings, asked us to do a promo to reach frat guys to get them to sign up, literally. And DraftKings, I sat with like Jason Robbins and all the owners probably a decade ago in Nantucket or something like that. And they offered me equity in the company because we do these contracts in pit FanDuel, DraftKings versus each other and the highest bidder. And they go back. It was a war because we were so effective. Now,
did you take the equity?
Did not take the equity.
Why?
The main reason was I was so focused with Barstool and I thought there was going to be too much going on where I sit in the room and I didn't totally understand it, but it's like I didn't envision wanting to sit in a room every week and have these meetings. It's I was concentrating on Barstool. And I didn't totally understand the equity portion of it. In hindsight, I don't know which way it would have worked out better. Like I could have done this deal, but I obviously would have had a small percentage. And I don't understand dilution and all that shit, what it would have ended up with. So we worked with them throughout. But as Barstool grew and as that space became more competitive, we started, and this is something I never did back in the day. One ad will be an MGM casino, the next is FanDuel, the next is DraftKings, the next is PointBet. It just became whitewashed, just like how it is if you watch a football game now and there's 10 commercials. Do you pay attention to any of them? Probably not. So I don't think any of the companies we're meeting with realized, well, when we were bought or acquired or focus our energy just on one company, what will happen? It changes the game, the narrative, everything. So I think they underestimated that. I think they were a little bit scared, but they could have gotten us, FanDuel specifically, and could have gotten us for far cheaper, I think, than Penn did, to be honest. And they missed the boat.
So you do the Chernin deal.
Yep.
I remember talking to Erica in 2017. She laid out this vision. We were joking earlier, like to the point where it was almost, is that even possible? Right? Like, hey, we're going to the moon type thing. I wrote this piece and said, you guys were, I think it was a $15 million valuation.
It was 12 and a half. I always said, because Chernin didn't want to say what it was, so I would always say 10 to 15s, but it was 12 and a half.
Okay. All right. Well, you probably shouldn't say the exact number now.
Well, it doesn't matter now, except people be like, you idiot. I think I made Chernin like $250,000 or something like that. No big deal.
Did he buy you dinner?
No, we haven't. He has offered. He has offered. But
you just didn't go.
I don't know that Chernin's given me anything. Like, not even like maybe a thank you card, a couple nice emails, maybe. Right. I like those guys, but they haven't. I don't think they like. Hey,
they're waiting till you make them $1 billion, and then
hey, great job. You mean as a quote, you returned a 9 gazillion. That was a unicorn investment for them.
Okay, so I wrote this piece and I said Barstool's going to be $1 billion brand if basically you don't sell too early.
Correct.
Right. And the whole idea was just you have the fan base. And it was so obvious early on, like if you have the relationship with the fans, you win because you can create companies, sell it through, products, sell it through, whatever. At some point you decide, one, to sell, right? A piece, not the whole thing, but a piece. And then two, you do it where now you're focusing all your energy on somebody else's product. It's not something that you guys created. Talk through like why do that versus just go start your own sports book plus a bunch of other stuff and put it through the distribution.
You mean here with like Penn?
With Penn, yeah.
Well, we could never start our own sports book. We'd
Okay.
never get licensed. We'd never get access. All that shit would just never happen. So
you needed the partner to do it.
Needed the partner, and they were the perfect partner. And again, it is a question I get asked a lot. But when you're in our shoes, and I've been fucking grinding at this thing for 17 years, I made money, and it's all relative. Like I'm obviously have done well, but when you look at the Chernin deal, it's not like I was obscenely rich. Like I had money, but that wasn't like, oh my God. And even now,
it's not like now where you can tweet at Celebrity Net Worth, hey, updated the 200 million.
Right. On paper. But so this was, and it's not as if we have this waterfall of offers and meetings when you're going through and nobody's making an offer. It's like, well, is anyone going to get an offer? And do I want to do this for the next 20 years to build it up? I always thought sports gambling, it's how we started. Yeah. The second the legislation in the United States changed to make it legal, I'm like, okay, this is our moment. And we spent close to a year trying to figure out the best fit. And Penn was by far and away the best partner that presented itself, from Jay Snowden, who I love, the CEO, to them understanding what we do and having faith and believing in it. It was almost a no-brainer. I mean, we named our price. There was no negotiation with Penn. And I thought it was crazy because based on FanDuel.
How'd you come up with the price?
I didn't like the Chernin guys, as you said, are fierce negotiators. So if they're naming it, I'm like, okay. But they named it, and Penn was like, yep, that's it, done. They didn't negotiate. It was nothing. As long as they felt we were aligned, and we are, because it's not like I got paid. It's like a lot of stock and all that shit.
How much did you take in stock versus cash?
It was like, it was 55-45.
55 cash or stock?
55 stock, 45. And that's like different for me. It's like the Barstool people are different than the Chernin people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a great deal. Now, when the stock goes up and bumps pre-corona, it's like, oh, we just made them a gazillion dollars in 10 seconds because Wall Street reacted obviously super favorably to the deal. And that's when the other companies we met with, who I like I obviously, it's like the Brady Six when he's crying. Like, I get a chip on my shoulder. Like, I'm meeting with these guys who know us. It's like, you're not even going to make an offer. Are you fucking an idiot? And they've probably had to spend on talent now more than they would have spent just to buy us because we put them in a box. It's like, oh, fuck. Like,
well, what is it? FanDuel did the Pat McAfee deal, right?
Yep. And on top, they're doing
all of them.
Yes, because okay. And they missed. And I don't know if they'd say they missed, but they missed because I actually really like the FanDuel guys and the ones running it. It's like if they made an offer that was competitive, it's like, okay, we can win with these guys.
I feel like everyone in the gambling sports fantasy world are people like Barstool, right? Like the type of person is so similar. So the people who are running those companies, there's a very cultural fit with what you guys have done. Ooh, maybe not.
Not at the top.
Okay. That's different.
Yeah, maybe down below. But that's why we're going to be like, I've met with them all. They don't, they're not.
Like how bad does this get in the sense of fast forward 5 years, the Barstool Sportsbook versus all these other guys? Like, how bad of a massacre is it?
Oh, I don't know, because they have such a gigantic lead. They have great tech. They have a huge lead. And there's no industry that I'm aware of where there's like one guy. I mean, it doesn't matter what there is. There's multiple players and they're competitive, and in a way it can help each other. But nobody outside, like, I guess the cable company and telephone. Well, even there's multiple, but you can only get one cable company in your house. Other than that, there'll be multiple players. Like FanDuel and DraftKings are not going anywhere.
Yeah, agreed.
We're different. Like, those two to me are one of those. I don't know what'll happen to those. They're identical companies to me. They're both out of the daily fantasy, the big databases. They're going to try to win with offers and plays. No one cares. No one's going to wear a FanDuel hat or a draft as much as they try. That's never going to happen. But they're going to be there. And I saw one interesting stat when I was looking at downloads, and it's like our downloads and what we did in Pennsylvania and handle and all that didn't seem to take away from the others. And I can believe that.
Oh, interesting. So it was additive to the
overall. Correct, because we have our audience who may not have been. So, it could help both markets. I could, and who knows, anybody who thinks I have insider knowledge, like you came in and I'm like, well, Penn was down 10%. They did this stock offering. I had no idea that was coming. And I have so much Penn stock, even beyond like the deal.
You know why they don't tell you, right?
Because insider trading.
No, because telling you wouldn't be bad because you're an employee. But then you would
Correct.
go sell it and you get yourself in trouble.
Correct, exactly. So
they basically know you better than you know yourself.
They protect me, but it's still so they told me just late last night so I wouldn't be like stunned by the news. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm so confident in myself and what we do here that I just keep buying it as it goes. Like I'll bet on myself 100. So when he told me that, I would never know this if I wasn't doing the day trader. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, stock's gonna get killed. Like not because Penn. Anytime a company does this, stock gets killed. I've seen it. Like I've owned stocks. I'm like, what the fuck is it down? And then people are like, oh, they did an offering. It doesn't generally last. It comes back. But when he told me that, it's like I'm sitting here I'm like, all right, you motherfucker. Like I didn't say it. It's like I'm gonna get murdered tomorrow. And it's like I'm gonna have to wake up all these people. And sure enough, it did. They buried some good stats, but yeah, it's
Hold on, before we talk about the stock stuff, you guys launched the Sportsbook in Pennsylvania this past weekend. Mm-hmm. You outperformed downloads for all the other ones. Did you guys have to spend money to drive that, or is that all organic, just putting it through the distribution?
All organic, which to me...
Which is the big advantage that you guys have. Yeah.
So that is the story, and that's why even the way they did this release, which they can't tell me, like the press release and all that, I feel like they should talk to me because I'm understand marketing, I feel like better than they do. Like it's stock offering, and then at the bottom, it like had the stats. And the stats, and people will twist them. People don't like me will say they're bad, they're good. It was like, I think I have it. It's like 30,000.
Yeah, it was like 30,000 downloads.
Downloads in Pennsylvania, 11 million handle, like 24,000 registrations.
It's really, really impressive.
There's 10 existing companies, sportsbooks in Pennsylvania with a huge lead on us. We know where it's like a race that is a 10-mile race, and the other companies are 5 miles in, and we're just starting. There's no other company in the world who could have that dent with $0 spent. Yeah, we didn't spend a cent. So
when you guys go to market this, how much is this just you send a message to everyone here and you're like, hey, we're launching this, like, go promote it, versus it's specifically like, okay, we're going to promote it on this show, we're going to promote it on this show. Like, how strategic is this?
It's pretty just promote it however you see fit. And
that's what it looks like, which makes it so much more valuable.
Yep. And that is how it is, and it's a natural because our history is gambling. And then I was saying, like, extrapolate it, take a state like Michigan where it is not legal yet. And that's like, I went to school there. We're huge in the Midwest. Penn has one of the nicest casinos there, the Greek, which is like, I think their nicest Las Vegas style casino. And all of a sudden everyone's at the starting line at the same time. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to cause real damage there. So not everyone's totally understanding that. I guess some people do, some people don't. But Pennsylvania was as encouraging, I think, as we could possibly expect it to be. And like the stock offering thing, again, it's like we're not, unless I'm being strictly lied to, which I know I'm not, that money is not going to people's hands. We're using it as it was, I said, to give me like guns, ammunition, so we can start spending. Yeah. So
I feel like, and this is external looking in, if somebody just gives you a camera and says, go live stream, you'll win some portion of the market, right? You, Big Cat, etc., like whatever. Then when they put a company that's got real technology behind you, right? Okay, now the product actually works. It's good, great. And then if they put marketing dollars behind this as well, it's like, it's unbeatable.
100%. And I think there'll be consolidation. Again, this is just a guess in the market. Like if you took a FanDuel or DraftKings and combined them with us, that's the end of this game. Like,
do you want that to happen?
Depends how much money I'd get. Like honestly, that's all.
Yeah, that's a great answer though.
Yeah, that's all a finance thing. Like who's in control? I know this. Like if those two combined, it doesn't matter. It's the same company. Who cares? They probably have a very similar.
They tried already.
Yeah, and they have a very similar database. It's like, I guarantee you, almost everybody who has FanDuel has DraftKings and vice versa, and they're shopping lines. And so we are a very different thing. We combine with one of those, the other one's dead. So I like that position, and it could happen down the world. And then you look at things like MGM Grand, shout out. I mean, whatever. They had Jamie Foxx. I don't know if you saw.
No.
They signed him like a big Jamie Foxx. He's the face of MGM gambling with an app. It's like, are you kidding me?
Jamie Foxx versus Dave Portnoy in the gambling space.
That That is a beatdown. Like that is an. And they
by the way, they have real production studios, etc. And you're basically sitting on, in your backyard in the fucking Hamptons or whatever, streaming.
Right. And the nutty thing is, like, I know MGM and I know Caesars, and we talk to them, and they never do a deal with us because there's old stuffy suits and whatnot. I'd never heard of Penn ever until a lot of their properties were different names. Like I heard of Penn National, like casino. I knew the Tropicana, which is a dump, which they had owned at the time. But like, I never knew what they are. Go ask people now who Penn is. It's like
everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Suddenly, it's like you look at the casino groups. That's all Barstool. It's funny because I know I'm underpaid again. Like I was underpaid with Chernin. I realized I didn't.
How did you structure the deal? Now that you did that deal, you obviously got cash and stock.
Yeah.
Right. Your
5-year deal. I have a 5-year contract here.
Okay, and you get stock and cash.
Correct.
Okay,
and I can I'm basically, they tied me in long term. Like and
if it goes better, you probably get more. If it doesn't go so well, then
my stock is fluid. I can't sell it, so it's like it.
Do they treat you like an athlete where hey, if you hit 20 home runs, you get a bonus or anything like that?
No. This is where my lack of negotiating skills probably comes in. I generally don't renegotiate. It's like, all right, I like the deal now.
No, don't renegotiate.
The Chernin guys were essentially at Kearns like, yeah, you were underpaid the whole time. It's like, no shit, I was. Like, they did give me raises, but when you see.
Did you ever, when you were handing out newspapers at the subway and train in Boston, did you think you were ever going to have a boss?
No, and I still don't. I do, but I don't. Because
all right, explain.
Well, I have technically a boss, Jay Snowden, and I guess Chernin guys were as well.
Yeah.
But
they let you do your thing.
When the ultimate trump card is, I'm just going to walk away if you don't give me what you want and your business is going to fall apart, I don't have a boss.
Are you negotiating with Jay and Chernin right now?
No. I don't do it that way. I never. It's like, whether Erica, I'm pretty sane. Like, our interests are aligned, and I'm honest and I'm straightforward. And as long as you're back to me, we'll never have a problem. And I would never do a deal with Jay or Chernin if I thought that was going to be an issue. But our business, strangely enough, is so dependent on the content, whatever. It literally, when the ultimate card, and I am crazy enough to walk, like, I love money.
I know.
But it's like, on principle, if you're like, okay.
To be honest, from afar, if there was ever okay, here's the moment, and it was give back the $200 million or like concede to whatever bullshit, I literally think you'd give back the money.
100%.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, is fucking insane.
Yeah, that would be the easiest. If it was something where I'm like, this is wrong, I can't do this, or you're fucking me over, I would rather the entire ship burn with me than concede. It's just in my nature.
That's why MGM and Caesars and all them couldn't do a deal with you.
Probably. But it boils.
But it's true.
But it boils down to it. When I say it, it's like honesty and being straightforward. And you may not like it, but I would never go into business with somebody who I didn't have the vibe. Like, I don't care it's not whether I like something or don't like something. It's whether I feel like you're being deceitful or misleading. Yeah. That's where I'd be like, no, you said that. I remember the Chernin deal. There was like $50,000 in lawyer fees that I know at the beginning is like, they cover my lawyer fees. It was $50,000. I was getting a lot of money for me at the time. And we were like, the last moment, they're like, yeah, you pay for the lawyer fees. I'm like, no, we agreed that you did. And not Mike, someone else called and they tried to negotiate it. And I literally at the end, I'm like, the deal's off. It's like, they're like, we'll give you 40, not 50. I'm like, it's 50 or the deal is off because we agreed on it. That's it. If we agree on something with me, you better fucking honor it or else I will walk.
And you do the same in return.
Totally.
Right. Okay. All right. So over the last couple of months, you've been yelling and screaming all kinds of crazy shit. Like, stocks only go up.
Right.
Now,
they're going down right now.
Well, hold on. But most people think Dave Portnoy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He knows nothing about finance, blah, blah, whatever. You've actually been right. You don't know why you've been right, probably, but you're actually right. And the reason why it only goes up is because they're literally just creating fucking money. So I want to
shoot bucks.
Exactly. So that's what I want to talk about.
That was like kind of insulting that you said I don't know why. I mean, I've done the shoot bucks thing.
So that video is probably one of the most real, honest evaluations of the stock market and the economy,
right,
than anything anyone will watch on television. right? And the whole idea is basically everything was selling off. The Fed steps in, they pump a bunch of money into the economy, and it just fucking shoots up, right? Like literally 50, 60% off the bottom, whatever. While that's going on, you start screaming, stocks only go up. And I think everyone's reaction in finance is so visceral to like, what does this guy know? He doesn't know, but whatever. But you're right.
Right.
And so like, talk just about the experience of all these people in suits and ties yelling and screaming. Dave Portnoy doesn't know what he's talking about. One, you've been right. Two, you're right structurally. And three, there's no end in sight for them to stop doing this shit.
Right. And I mean, if you look long term, the one thing I have said with it is like, if you're an old person, whatever, and you need to get your money out, you got to be a little more careful. But if you can wait,
if you're 25,
if you can outweight the stock market, you can always outweight the stock market and it'll always go up. It doesn't matter how far down it goes. That's just a fact if you look at it. But yeah, it's an industry that I've never been involved in. I don't think they had ever, and I've had this happen a lot during the course of Barstool. They just didn't know what to do with me. It's like, the guy you said, Ross Gerber, he's like, hey, come on my podcast. I don't like him. I'm like, suck my dick. Like, they don't know. It's like, okay. Like, how do I respond to that? Well, he deleted the tweet. That's how we respond to that. And they'll chirp me from the cheap seats when things are going on, but I don't care. That's like, I like that. That's my world.
They're playing into the game.
Correct.
You want to talk shit. The way they talk shit is not actually talk shit. They basically like throw these little intellectual zingers, and you're just like, look, let's just let's just go at it.
And for any time I'm on TV or mentioned, it's good. I mean, as crazy as it is, it really, when it exploded was when I started making fun of Warren Buffett. But the financial community, and there maybe...
By the way, you're not wrong with his performance. He hasn't beat the S&P over the last decade.
Well, he's 90 years old.
Yeah.
People are like... if you're in your prime at 90, then you were never good before. No one gets sharper at 90. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. So, they took a quote because it all started with the airlines, basically. The cruise and airlines. I was getting killed. I had shorted. I was getting murdered. And part of it's like, wait a minute, the stock market is not connected at all to what's going on in the world. We're in this pandemic, shit's going on, stocks go up, down, whatever. But I said, I'm going in on airlines. Spirit was at 7. And literally, I did this big rant. And like 5 minutes later, Warren Buffett comes out with a press release. It's like, we're getting out of the airlines.
At the bottom of the market.
Correct. And it was literally, like I said, go in on airlines. 2 seconds later, he says, get out.
Do you think he was watching the live stream?
I wonder if he actually knows who I am. I doubt it. But so after that, stock, the airlines went ballistic.
Yep.
Parabolic, as the crypto people like to say. And then
you know that one of my business partners, he's got Jason Williams.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel called Going Parabolic.
Correct. He's got the merch and all that.
When you started yelling parabolic,
parabolic's a great word.
Yeah, that's like a crypto. They should just trademark that word in crypto.
It's a very good word. Yeah. So it went nuts. And then I'm like, oh, Warren Buffett sucks. I'm the captain now. And like investing.com and Business Insider took that quote. And then from there, it was kind of game over. It ran. And I did notice like CNBC, they liked having me on a lot more when I was losing. Yeah. And when I started winning, it's like they stopped having me on and they didn't want to talk about it.
But it's also the type of content, like it's the memes, it's the live streams. It's like all this stuff that they don't really know how to deal with, right? Correct. And part of what's so funny, and when you started playing around with Bitcoin and crypto, like you realize immediately, like, holy shit, these people just meme the hell out of anybody who comes in.
Yeah, they got a great meme community. Very, very impressive meme community.
So that's why the mainstream media is like, what do we do with these people? Right? Because they're literally, it's a pseudonymous account that's just throwing out crazy memes. And they're just like, what the fuck is this? So I have nothing in crypto right now. That is probably the thing I miss the most is the memes. Although I like Link Marines, I think are dead. They are. Did you kill them?
What is it at now? 8? I mean,
did you? All right, so hold on. Let's back up for a second. Let's talk about Bitcoin first. I don't know why you bought anything else other than just Bitcoin.
Because the Link Marines were blowing up my thing. You got to buy Link Marines. It's like I see other shit. It's no different than the stock market. Everyone's pumping their own shit.
All right. What questions do you have about Bitcoin?
8. Look at that.
890. When'd you buy it?
So I bought it at, I think 14. It went to 19. I sold it at 16.
Oh, so you made money then?
About even, Well, Bitcoin. You want to see this? The crypto.
The 2017
Bitcoin is in my mind, just one big Ponzi scheme.
Okay, why? The 2017 video you have. By the way, Bitcoin Marty says hello. That
fucking Bitcoin Marty. He's part of. First of all the people I know in Bitcoin Marty, Bubbly Gang, are people.
Caleb.
Yeah, he told me to stop bash. He's like, stop bashing Bitcoin.
Yeah. He came on the podcast. He understands it now.
I understand what I think you guys think it is. To me, it is a Ponzi scheme that you get in and you just got to not be the one holding the bag.
I'm going to give you ammo for the finance world, and then I'm going to tell you why Bitcoin's the solution. Ready?
Well, and I know what it is. It's gold and pumping money, and they're set. I mean, I
kind
of get it.
The stock market, you know how you say it always goes up? It's like that 45-degree angle.
Correct.
Since 1971, direct 45-degree angle, a couple of drops, whatever, but it's straight up. That's because it's denominated in dollars. They're just devaluing the dollar, right? And stocks go up. If you denominate that same stock market in gold, the stock market is down since 1971. The stock market is a complete scam in terms of accruing value. It's all the dollar being devalued. So it goes straight up 45-degree angle, but if you denominate it in ounces of gold, it's down.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Well, here,
different language, but
no, here's why it's important.
We're going to go to mine gold.
No, here's why it's important. You bought a house, right?
Correct.
In where?
A lot of places.
Nantucket.
Yeah, I have one there. Yes.
Okay. Why'd you buy that house in Nantucket?
I love that place.
Okay.
I loved it. That's not something I was trying to get. Like I thought I'd live there the rest of my life.
Okay. And there wasn't that many to select from,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And because there's not that many, the prices are expensive, and you have a lot of money, so you could buy it.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Same thing in the digital world is there's some things that are just scarce. And if those things end up having a large community that wants them, what ends up happening? The price goes up.
Go up. Correct.
Okay. So Bitcoin's only got 21 million, obviously. And the whole thing behind it is the strongest computing power in the world. So literally the computer network that runs Bitcoin is stronger than anything in the world. No government, nobody can hack it because it is the strongest computing network in the world. It's got more computing power on it than anything else. The reason why that's so important is because the whole idea of like, why does Barstool work? It's because you guys are completely decentralized. Like nobody, if they try to like come at you, they get attacked by all these other people at Barstool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that decentralized type media model where you're not going and telling somebody, okay, send me your thing, I'm going to be the editor, and then like I'm going to approve it. It's just like, here's a fucking camera, go post on your accounts and like just blow it up, right? Yep. And do it. That's the same type of thing that's going on, but with money now. So rather than the government saying, hey, today we're going to print more money, or remember what happened today with Penn, where they just all of a sudden, all these new shares, right? Yep. You're like, fuck, what the hell? Like, I had no say in this.
Right.
That's basically what the Federal Reserve does. So earlier this year, they printed $3+ trillion. You didn't get a vote. I didn't get a vote. It's just, fuck, okay. Whatever cash you have, so let's say you're worth 200 mil, and $30 million in cash, right? That $30 million of cash, if you leave it in cash, is going to be worth less next year, right? Because the purchasing power goes down. And so what ends up happening is you're financially incentivized to get out of the dollar and buy stocks, buy gold, buy fucking property, whatever. But with Bitcoin, they can't do that because there's only 21 million and a computer runs it. So the only way to change the computer is if more than half of the people agree to change what the computer does. So there's no like old guy in a suit who basically is like, I think that we should print more money, or you know what, we should take some money out of circulation. No human is involved in making the decision. It's the consensus of everyone involved. So the reason why it becomes so valuable is because nobody can fuck with it. And that's why the Bitcoiners are so like rabid about it, is they're just like, it doesn't matter what anybody says, what you think, I think, anybody. Nobody can fuck with it. And because it's like that on the internet and globally everyone's subjected to the same rules, it continues to accrue value because people realize, wait a second, they're fucking with the dollar. They're fucking with the euro. They're fucking with the yen, the RMB, whatever. But the only thing you can't fuck with is Bitcoin. And so as that keeps going, you should just take 1 to 5% of your net worth, put it in Bitcoin, don't look at it. Just leave it there. And that'll be the best performing thing in your entire portfolio. If you take 1% out of everything else in your portfolio, whether you own real estate, stocks, anything.
What's 1% going to give me?
Well, let's say it goes up 20x.
What's 1% of 200 million? I don't have a 200 million, but what's 1%? So $1 million, I make 20 million in what? How long?
So there's something called the halving. I'm sure that they've all told you about this, but basically the whole idea is every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that shows up every day gets cut in half. So it used to be 50 Bitcoin a day, or 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Then it was 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes and 12 and a half. Now it's at 6.25. That just happened in May. It got cut in half again. Every time that that's happened, the next 18 months, Bitcoin's gone up an incredible amount because it's a supply shock, right? It's like, think of it as if we all wanted something and then...
What is even Bitcoin at right now?
Like 10,500. Do you remember when you first started buying it?
Well, I bought way back in the day.
Yeah. What was the price?
More than that.
Was over 10,000?
Yeah, I think so. I bought it in that huge rush when everyone was.
Yeah, but it was only above 10,000 for like 20 or 30 days. So you would have to really have bad timing.
I thought it was close to like 20.
It went from 10,000 to 20,000 in 18 days in 2017.
Yeah, so I probably bought around 15 or 16.
Okay. Do you still have it? Or did you sell it?
It's lost. It was in one of those keychains.
You lost it?
Yeah, that was another part. It's like I don't like having to hold shit in like keychains and weird and like Marty was
how much did you have?
Probably like 50 grand. Marty like had to do it.
Yeah. He helped you, and then he gave me
something with the weirdest code.
And you lost it.
Like, yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
So I lost that, but I'd be down on that, and that was what 2017.
Yeah. But you got to remember, but you got to understand that the markets, the way that they work is so that halving happens, it goes up a bunch in price because there's a supply shock. Usually it takes about 18 months for that to happen. Then it draws down 85%. It's happened 3 times already.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing why I say it's like. So I got out. I really this latest round. I think I had 1.25 million in it at one point. And what went up, went down, and then went back. And I was like, I absolutely don't know what the fuck this is, and it's too much money to not like. At least with stocks, even though I don't believe half the shit they say, like okay, our stock got tanked today. I can do a direct like line to we did the stock offering. I know why I got it, or earnings or and what I don't. Like, I think a lot of it's bullshit. I think the day-to-day, like, but I understand. It's like almost like watching a sports game. Like, all right, my team lost. I bet them -2. They lost by 3. I lose my money. Bitcoin, I have no fucking, like, there's no rationale. Why is it going up? I have no idea why it's going up or down.
Think of like a technology company. Right? When Barstool first started, actually, it's a great idea. You didn't have a stock price, right?
Correct.
So it was just every day. The only person who saw the P&L or whatever was you, if you guys even had one, right?
Right.
And if there was a stock price in the early days of Barstool, it'd be like in the morning, it would be through the roof, right? By the afternoon, it'd be down. And it was basically like what you emotionally felt. There was highs, there was lows. Right. It was like super volatile. You're like, are we going to fucking survive? Are we not? Right. Whatever. Super, super volatile. But because you were a private company, there's no stock price. So if you think of Bitcoin, it's really a technology, right? And it has that same volatility that Barstool had or other tech companies have. It's just that there's a price associated with it. So what you're seeing is all that incredible volatility. But like, imagine if Uber, the first couple of years.
Yeah, but what is that? What is that based on? Emotion right now?
No, well, it's price discovery, right? So if you think of Bitcoin,
like people are buying and selling Bitcoin. To me,
did you hear about this guy MicroStrategy? What he did? MicroStrategy.
I saw that in my travels, but I didn't like research it. But it was popping up like on my thing.
His $500 million on his balance sheet, publicly traded company over $1 billion valuation. He took 85%, $425 million out of dollars and put it in Bitcoin. And the reason he said is, if I leave this in cash, it's going to get devalued. So every year that I sit with this cash, it's going to be worth less and less and less. So he moved it to Bitcoin. Now, that's a really, really aggressive move.
You think?
Right? Of course. But if you think about from a personal perspective, one, every investment you make, you want asymmetry, right? If you think about the best investors in the world, they're right like 55, 60% of the time. So all these guys who are like, oh, I'm right every time, they're all fucking full of shit.
Ross Gerber.
Right. Well, whoever, right? They're all full of shit.
Gerber.
The absolute best investors in the world, right? 55 to 60% of the time. But they only put trades on where it's like, I can lose 10% or I can make 20 times my money, right? So asymmetric in their favor that they're willing to take kind of the losses 45% of the time because the 55% of the time they're right, it just pays for it in spades, right? So what you want to do is create a portfolio of assets that have asymmetry, right? So Penn stock has asymmetry in a sense. It's not going to go to zero, right? And it can go up a lot. Bitcoin has asymmetry in that, yeah, maybe it drops down, but it drops 10, 20%, but it also can go to hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And then what you want is a bunch of stuff that's non-correlated. So if you have Penn stock and then 6 other stocks and they're all moved together, so when Penn goes down, they go down, well, then just put it all in fucking Penn stock. Like, why do you have all 6 of them, right? Because they all move together. But what you want is different types of assets. So you want Bitcoin, you want Penn stock, you want whatever. And then what ends up happening is if Penn stock's down, that doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is up or down. There's just no correlation, right?
Although
no correlation.
Bitcoin lately seems to be tied to what's going on in the stock market.
Good observation. So in liquidity crisis, right? And since March, basically, the reason why the Fed pumps so much money in is because everyone fucking panics and says,
like, to me, what my original gut was, if you asked me before, like, this would be beneficial to Bitcoin, but it hasn't been.
It's the best performing asset this year.
Bitcoin?
Like from an asset class. It's up like 60%.
When you say asset.
So think stocks, precious metals, crypto, like whatever, right? So yes, there are individual stocks that perform better than some, but as a whole, stocks are basically up single-digit percentage from year to date. Gold's up like 20-25%. Bitcoin's up over 50%.
Right.
So it's outperformed all the other ones on like a asset class basis. And the whole thing is they're pumping all this money. People are scared of inflation. They run to inflation hedge assets, precious metals, real estate, whatever. But Bitcoin's the most volatile. And so it dropped 50% in a single day earlier this year. Like scares the shit out of people, right? But then when everything goes up, it just goes up more than everything else.
And it doubly scares the shit out of people, I think. In part of my, I know what you're saying, like what, Satoshi or whatever the fuck the guy's name is. There's nobody I'm an accountability guy. So like Nikola, that guy was a fraud, and he's like, I like knowing, even if you stole my money, I like knowing who stole it. It's like I can be like, this fucking guy. So
you see, I think he deleted his Twitter account.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, he got out. He got called out. And so to me,
is that what's worse, losing your job or having to delete your Twitter account? Like, would you rather get kicked out of Barstool or have to delete your Twitter account?
I have no problem deleting. I'll just come out. It's like Michael Scott Paper Company. I got like lots of names I can do, so I'm not worried about that. But that's part of the thing is Bitcoin, and I get I understand what you're saying, but still, there's an unease, and maybe I also have I don't put my toe in the water.
Yeah,
I generally jump in. All right, I want to make $10 grand. I don't want to fucking do that. I want to put millions into something. If you look at what I'm doing right now, that's why I got caught with my hand in the cookie jar with my own fucking company. It's but that's how I operate. So not knowing, being
do you think Penn stock or Bitcoin performs better through the end of next year?
It's a tough one.
Well, it makes you think.
Well, no, it makes me think because if you told me a month ago that Penn was going to be 75, I'd be like, that's crazy. We're not going. I was happy when it hit 40. I bought it at 20. So I don't. It's an interesting one because it's not only just Penn. We've hit, and you could look back, we've hit a legalized vice. So I don't think people truly know the market of what we're in. And one of the things I keep hearing, whether it's Penn, whether it's DraftKings, anybody, which I have a bananas disagreement with, is, and I haven't really said it, people keep saying the sportsbook is a gateway drug. It goes to iCasino. All the money is in iCasino. And I think, but that's what everyone says.
Yeah, but that's stupid because it's literally a completely different experience. And if you're a degenerate sports gambler, you want to do that. You don't want to go play fucking roulette.
Both, but the margins are better on online.
Yeah, of course.
And picture down the road if we have online blackjack and I'm dealing, and that's something people can't.
But are they there for you or are they there for the blackjack? How many of the stoolies want to go play what they, for most young kids, are probably going to assume is a rigged online gambling game?
I don't think Penn and major companies, I don't think they're going to think they're rigged. I really if you're for
the online gambling,
yes.
like the actual casino games.
Correct.
Okay.
And if it's set up in a world where at halftime, hey, go play blackjack for I think you can do it. My point is different. I look at, because a lot of the brick and mortars, Penn included, it's our sports books don't make a ton of money. People want its value. Go look at casinos. How big are the sports books? Most of them, how much real estate do they take up? Not that much, because they're it's not the money makers, the tables and things like that. But I equate it, and I think this will be something that people aren't factoring in, to online poker. And poker. If you go to a casino, poker rooms don't make money. They don't. Mm-hmm. Online poker made a shit ton because there's no walls. So the problem, I've always thought, and it's no different, with sports books, you need physical space. How many people can you put in a sports book? Not that many. But if you run your sports book correctly and you have 50-50 and you're just getting juice and unlimited walls, that juice should be just like the poker that's taking the rake, should be wildly.
Well, you guys are also promoting it in a way that the entire space has never seen before.
Totally different. Right. Everything we do will on its head. Even the prop I had yesterday, I don't know. It's
you can win a jacket if you do this. All this bullshit that you guys are doing. By the way, it's genius marketing, but they are shook because they don't understand. They don't have the personalities to go do this. Jamie Foxx is not going to be like, hey, if you do this bet, we're going to do some crazy shit.
And not only that, Jamie Foxx, and I like Jamie Foxx, he doesn't give a fuck. Well, it's Jamie Foxx has so much money. and is doing so many things. You think he really cares about pushing MGM's Sportsbook? And even if you look at the deals, which I never understood, if you go to Fox Bet or Terry Bradshaw, these guys work for the network. They don't like, my life is in this, and a lot of our guys here, this is it. Like, if this fucking thing tanks, then I basically fucked myself on how I sold it. So I'm not guaranteeing that it works, but when you invest in Penn or do this, or Penn invest in us, you're getting like my best shot and my only shot, really. Yeah. So it's a huge difference. And I love Pat. Like, I taught Pat how to fucking gamble. The guy never placed a bet literally till 3 years ago. And he's a jack of all trades, so talented, but he's doing a lot of fucking things. This is it. I have like laser focus. And at the very least, they got my action, which is a lot of action, and I always lose.
Are you moving to Philadelphia?
So I am in Philadelphia now. I have to be here Wednesdays because we film all day. And then I head back. Well, we do the show with Dion. So generally on Thursdays. So Wednesdays, I'm in the office filming. Thursdays, generally, we can't Dion's schedule now because the job is all over the place. And by Friday, I'm back in Philly till Tuesday. So It's like 4-3.
Okay. Tell me how the Deion Sanders deal happened.
So
by the way, epic get.
Dion is 1,000% better than I ever thought he would be. He fits perfectly. Like, you can literally say whatever the fuck you want to him. He gets it. He knows his busting balls. He doesn't take offense. Yep. So
were you worried that he might?
Yes. Yeah.
Like Hall of Famer, he might.
A lot of the athletes, famous athletes, or even personalities we've dealt with do not fit in. They come from, first of all, network people, and people who have money don't have the work ethic we do. We're born from the internet. The only way people find out who you are is because you were better, funnier, worked harder than other people. Yep. That's it. That's the culture here. If you have a lot of money, you're an athlete, you've been told you're the best your whole life, you may have a very different work ethic than we do. So we have a podcast out of Philly, $1 million worth of game.
Amazing.
Most underrated podcast there is. They're fucking hilarious.
They're hilarious.
Hilarious. So they're friends with Dion. And
of course they are.
And they're like, hey, he's looking. And they did the introduction, and we went down to Barstool. Yep, to Erica and I. We flew down, met with him. It's like, what do you want? It seemed like a good fit. There was a lot going on. It's one of those things, combo. He's expensive. We were willing to pay. It was a good look for us. We had the Penn deal going on. So it's like football show. But he's awesome. He's better than – and everything's like credibility as well. Yep. Like, okay, we can compete with these big guys. But he's been – I don't know how he's going to continue it with the job, but he is.
For those that don't know, he just – Jackson State. Is he
the
head coach?
Head coach. Did you see his press conference?
I saw a clip of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
It's insane. It looked like someone said it looked like Coming to America. It did. He had like this cavalry of like cars coming into the gym, like people dropping. It was very prime time. Yeah. But he's not super prime time off camera.
Yeah.
Like he is, but he isn't. Like he's a guy like that. Obviously, if I'm with someone younger, and like Deion Sanders, they may be like, "Who's that?" I'm like, really? It's like, to me, he's
like, he was it.
2, 3 most famous guys, like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, like they're it.
You ever heard of anybody playing in a football game and a baseball game in the same day?
but and there's shit you can say. So I didn't know what to expect because of the persona, but he's so down to earth, and you can be like, what did I say? Oh, a guy from Boston, Dan Shaughnessy, called him a fraud the other day, and I'm a Boston guy. I'm like, hey, Deion. He's like, and you can bust a ball, but like, you should dump a thing of Gatorade on his head like McCarver. He's like, I fucking hate that guy. Like he's very real, very authentic. I didn't know what to expect, but he's as good an athlete to interact with. I probably have a handful where
who else is up there?
Greg Olson.
Yeah.
I couldn't be it. Like he's one of the early guys, but I'm as comfortable talking to you.
Wasn't he doing the van talk, right?
Yeah, he left Super Bowl media day because they won't let us in to come talk to us in the van early. And by the way, there is nothing like, I'm a huge loyalty guy. Like I really, really appreciate the guys who were with us before he blew up or before they blew up and stay with us. Goes a long way, and I'm the same way. But it is crazy. Like I went to a party the other day in the Hamptons, no big deal. But it was like I walk in and Blake Griffin was there. He literally like grabs me and like he's like, I love Barstool, and just grabbed me. We went up and shot the shit in a room for like an hour. It's surreal shit like that that is still stunning.
The point when I realized like this is no longer Barstool of, I think that everyone grew up in college, whatever on, was the Joe Burrow or Coach O, whatever interview. I was like, wait, what? That was the first interview that they gave?
Yeah.
How the fuck did this happen?
Yeah, it's great. We've always been with the athletes. Very strange because athletes, unlike ESPN where they're out and asking, athletes like ask to come, the ones that do well, like Kevin Hayes, who's had an unbelievable season for the Flyers. Like, I'm legitimately very good friends with him. He's through the system. And we got to the point, kind of what you said, a lot of the guys who play sports now or in the pros, they grew up with us. Like, they were reading it in, like, high school. So they're like fans, and then they know we're not out to get them. Like, we're never trying to get out of people like gotcha quotes. We're trying to be funny and interesting, give a different look, and they appreciate it.
But I think that's also why you guys are so successful, right? It's like media is shifting now to nobody cares about what does X network, how do they take what I said, manipulate it, take a quote, and put their spin on it. Yep. Like, I just want to hear what you say. I just want to hear what Greg Olson says, whatever. And you guys just created platforms where they can come do that.
And we're protective. Like, I mean, Kevin Hayes, like, for example, we got a video sent to us. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just making a ruckus in, like, a Chinese food restaurant. It was very funny. I was like, dude, like, clean it up. Like, we're not going to post it, just heads up. So, we're not we're not out.
Yeah, you're not TMZ.
We're not out trying to make people look bad. And we're also one of the few places, especially nowadays, where, like, we don't really apologize for, hey, you like to drink beer and, like, go fuck chicks. Like, that's, like, frowned upon somehow now. Like, we don't. It's like, all right, we're guys. Like, we're not bad. We're not what everyone's saying.
You're just authentic.
Correct.
It's just like, literally, this is what I would do if the camera wasn't here. So, like, if you want to watch. If not, then don't.
That's always the shit that I've heard, the negative about me. They're always like, if he says this on camera, imagine what he says off camera. It's like, that's the fucking point. Like, you're getting as unfiltered.
That's why you're mad to begin with, is because I literally said the worst thing I was going to say.
Right. And that's it. Like, there's nothing else. I'm talking as if we're not on camera. That's how I am all the time. I've always said, the people I don't like, there's people who've come through the walls and it's like, oh, I like this person. I don't like this person. This person's cool. Put a camera on me. 24/7. You're going to get the same exact person 24/7. There's a lot of people probably not like that.
All right. I got 3 questions to end it.
Yep.
Biggest regret you have over the last 17 years?
I really don't have many. I've been asked this before, and it's like, I started one company. It's this. Did I have, like, irrational confidence because, like, maybe other people would quit or whatever, but everything I seem to do has seemed to work. It's been a dream. I mean, I started a company in my basement with no money, delivering newspapers, and got here. I would have been happy making $60,000 a year. Honestly, it wasn't about money. So it's hard everything's worked. So I don't have business. I have no regrets.
All right. Side note, real quick. The ESPN Van Talk controversy. What happened?
So that was an interesting point in Barstool because Pardon My Take blew up. And ESPN wanted them, basically. And we were at a point, probably Dan and I more so than PFT, where he's looking, his open market value was more than what he was making here. It's like, kind of like everybody's like, how am I going to, this is my moment too. So ESPN wanted them. I was never comfortable with the deal. But essentially what happened was, we did that deal. Why we agreed to that deal was to, like, basically, okay, we can't
test it, see what happens.
Not only test it, we got to let them, like, stretch their legs and grow. They wanted it. Dan and PFT really wanted this deal. So it's like, okay, we'll try to make it work. And at first, ESPN just, like, wanted to call it, like, Van Talk, no Barstool in it. They essentially, what they wanted to do was test drive Dan PFT. The contracts would be up in a little bit. It's like they knew they could probably pay them more, and it was very obvious to, like, myself and Eric, like, we know what you're doing. So if you're going to use our talent, you better fucking call it Barstool Van Talk. So we did. Fine. This was like a year in the works. I was never comfortable with it. I always felt like they thought it was dirty, but we get there. And I don't know, a day or two after it launches.
The first episode goes.
It was a hit? It did well.
Okay.
I mean, they put it on. I forget it was on
like
like
midnight
1 or 2
something
in the morning on ESPN too.
Yeah.
So they put it on.
They didn't even give you ESPN. They gave you ESPN
Yeah,
2 and
it
1
would have, which is smart because you have our audience who's going to watch it, and honestly, those two guys are as talented. Dan's like the most talented, hardworking guy there is. So that he's got everything he does work. So it would have worked. And then they cancel it. They issue a press release, I believe, or no, we found out that they were canceling it. And it all stemmed from, I talked about Sam Ponder with Dan years and years ago. On Barstool, it's locker room talk.
Yeah.
And we had a podcast, Pick'em Podcast, which we still do. It's like 10 years old. We'd call each other up, and we were talking just about the games, which we always did. And Sam Ponder just had a kid. And she was toting the kid all over ESPN Game Day. And we were talking about a game, and we were both going back and forth. But it was like, I don't want to see Sam Ponder's kid on Game Day. Nobody does. I'll die on that hill. It's like Sam Ponder's super hot, but nobody wants to see her. It's like an all-guy show. The reason she was hired is she's very attractive, knows football. Another thing I sometimes get in trouble. It's not a coincidence most sideline reporters are attractive. Doesn't mean that's the only requirement. You have to be talented, but you have to be pretty to look at. So it's like talking her way. It's like, I don't want to see her and her kid on the sideline anymore. And I actually said she has to stop being a prude and slut it up. That's what I said.
I'm assuming she didn't like that.
We didn't know she didn't like it.
Okay.
We didn't even know.
So that's an important point. You guys never had a conversation.
Never interaction.
Okay.
So,
but obviously understandable why she didn't like that.
Totally.
Yep.
And I've said this about her in a respect. First of all, it's not calling someone a slut. I said it's semantics. I went back and looked. I called my sales guys. I just used the word a lot. It was a different time. It was a free word you could use. But I was being like, you go stop. Yeah, stop being. Yeah, so whatever. I didn't call her. It's like I said the opposite. She's got her kid but 3 years pass, 4 years pass, and the show gets launched, and she starts, according to the press reports, the crusade against us, being like, we're going to business with these guys who said this about me 4 years ago. I didn't even know what we said. We said it a lot. So in that actual respect, I was like, I do respect Sam Ponder. She held a grudge for 4 years.
So I was going to say,
yeah,
she's a Dave Portnoy.
She waited for the moment, and she came in guns a-blazing and sank it. In the quote that John Skipper had.
Kill shot.
Yeah, yeah. And the quote John Skipper had was, I didn't know that people would associate the Barstool Van Talk with Barstool Sports. It's like, what are you talking about? He literally said that. By the way, like 2 weeks later, resigned, Coke addiction. Best thing ever. Popping champagne bottles.
I was going to say, was that your, you had a bottle?
Great. So the Sam Ponder, where I differ from Sam Ponder, because that part, we said it, I have no problem with it. She then made up things that I didn't say and just blatant lies. So I can say, I just said what I said, and I won't say it now. And she actually, the Stoolies being who they are, went back and dug up like 1,000 tweets of her calling people sluts and shit, similar language. She apologized. It's like, I've changed as a person.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world today than it was even 5 years ago.
And that's always like Deadspin, who
you love,
despise, and are the first ones to throw stones at me in the past. They deleted their entire Twitter history, all of it. And then they'd be like, we changed. I have always said, I won't delete any of my Twitter history. It's all there. It's an open book. I've said what I've said. Times are different. I wouldn't say it. Most of the shit that people dig up on me now is 5 to 10 years old, and they were meant to be jokes.
And it wasn't bad at the time, mostly. There might be one or two that people get very upset about, right? And rightfully so. But for the most part, most of it...
There's nothing I ever have said that was with the intent to make people truly feel bad, unless I hate you. But then I won't use that. Like the things I say that are trouble are people I don't know, or like just in conversation, like in a locker room environment. If I despise you, like Ross Gerber, I'm saying things to wound you on a professional level. But like the Sam Ponder thing came up so organically, and we're like talking. I would have said it in a different way, but the point, like, nobody wants to see your newborn every single week in all your segments on College Game Day. I would say it like that.
Did that show getting canceled say, fuck it, we're not going to play with the networks anymore?
Pretty much.
Okay. That's what it looks like.
Yes.
And you don't need them.
I think TV still matters.
Okay.
And I would love a network, our own network. But like we do the Barstool Sports Advisors, which I think's pretty much the best football show on TV. We tried to buy
built
it.
for the internet, like literally built for the internet.
They tried to say that we couldn't swear in it. Like we like to beep out the words. They're like, you can't swear. Like, all right, we're not running. We're going to keep it fresh. It'll come around. I think everything will come around. I mean, when I did the
is TV ready for like what I'll call the internet content? Like how you use the green screen, you have all the graphics. Like TV's ready for that.
Definitely.
Okay.
And it goes backward. I mean, again, you look at everything, and he did get in trouble. Like, people just pick and choose the hypocrisy of everything, which drives me nuts. Like Jimmy Kimmel Man Show, and like that almost. If we did that, and he did get in some trouble for, I think, blackface. But if I did the Man Show, I'd never stop hearing about it ever. I'd never get job. People, what I say and do, even though we're very clear comedy, I've always said what people say about us is, you go into a comedy show, you don't have a ticket, you don't know who the comedian is. You hear a joke you don't like, you go into the street, you'll be like, you never believe what this guy says, and you give no context to where you heard it. That's what I feel like people do to us. I don't know how it started. I don't know what it is, because I think a lot of people now do kind of similar stuff to us, but when we say it, it hits different. I have no idea why.
Well, you just get almost labeled as people are waiting for you to say something.
And then I double down. I get in fights. Like, I don't back down. I'm never like, oops, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's like, fuck you. It's like a joke. If you can't take it, get the fuck out.
But is that not the right way to handle it? Like in terms of, there's some people who say something and they would immediately backtrack and almost like
fake apologies.
Yeah, and then the crowd or the mob wins, right? Versus if you say something and you mean it and you just stand the line.
Yeah, I get a lot on Twitter and anybody like, hey, when's he going to learn? You're an idiot. When are you going to do this? And I turn around, it's like, why would I change what I'm doing because it's what got us here? It's like Barstool is as successful or more than I ever dreamed by being authentic and just being kind of myself. And by the way, my friends, I'm like just a combative person. And even like Kevin, who's sitting over here, is relatively new. Like, I'm pretty mean and straightforward. And then I forget about it like 5 minutes later. Like, that's how I am. People can come in and like yell at me. I don't really care. That's my personality.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy 1% of net worth in Bitcoin?
I'll get back. I've been saying I'll get back in Bitcoin.
All right.
I don't know when. I mean, like,
you should do it and then just wait till the end of next year. You can't look at it because you got weak hands. Like, you'll sell it.
That somebody made me like a mini pair of mittens. Like, I love the weak hands.
Did they
They sent me.
Did you see all the replies to the question I asked yesterday? I said, what should I ask him?
The weak.
50% of them, or just ask him how does he eat with such weak hands? How does he?
Listen, everyone thinks I'm like I knew I had to be involved in crypto within like 15 minutes of starting to see the response. I'm like, oh, these are kind of my people. And
best memes. Like, Vindog is good.
Well, Vindog's the best.
I mean, if you go Vindog versus Bitcoiners, who wins the meme war?
Vindog.
I don't know. They're relentless. It's one man versus an army.
How many live action memes have you seen from the Bitcoiners? None.
Listen, if you put the challenge out,
categories.
If you put the challenge out, then the Bitcoiners are going to send you live action memes, and you're going to literally run out of money hiring all of them for live action memes.
Live action memes are good.
They are good. Vindog is one of the best.
Oh, Vindog is right on the perfect line of you can't tell whether he's serious or because his actual memes are all like super PG. So it's like he puts your face on like a baseball and hits like a home run himself. It's like, there is no answer for that. There is no answer for the Vindog.
He's out in his yard drop kicking his son.
And that's probably why we in the crypto, like, I don't know how many of them have actually like know who Vindog is or saw it, but there's very few people on our side of the world. Like, when I saw Vindog, like, I knew he was higher. Like, oh my God, I have a nuclear meme weapon sitting here. It's like, well, I need this guy instantly. We literally... He was a shop teacher that we hired. He's like, what about my social security? All that is like, dude, you're going to make memes for us and kill people. But no, the crypto, I love crypto.
You talked somebody who was about to get social security, out of taking social security to come make memes for Barstool.
Memes, like he's been a shop teacher for like 40 years. I'll get back in. My finances are so weird. It's like, I do like knowing what I have. I have so much in flux with Penn. In my own day trading account, like
you cannot answer this, but what do you just keep a bunch of cash, or is it all in Penn?
No, I have so
Like you strike me as a guy who's like super risky with
Yes.
a majority,
correct.
but then you're also like, I probably should keep more cash than most because I know I'm crazy and will do crazy, dumb, risky things.
I'm pretty much pushing at all times. Like
Okay.
so I have my own day trading account, which is now about even. So I was down 3, I was up 4, and now I think right now I'm like dead even because
Okay.
the last 2 weeks I've lost like 4 mil. And then I have a investment that I'm not like day trading,
Mhm.
but if you looked at what it is, it's still pretty risky. And I just like buying Penn because it's like me.
Is that what it is?
All Penn?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
I probably have I have like Penn, I have Amazon.
Oh, so it's a stock portfolio.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. But I don't have much like liquid. Really, it's all invested.
Yeah, you're not sitting with like $10 million in a
No.
bank account.
I'm sitting with like nothing in the bank. I was all invested. It's all invested.
Which, by the way, is a smart strategy right now, given the fact that they're going to devalue the dollar and asset.
Well,
prices
I don't know. It depends who you talk to. Everyone says no, but I mean, again, I'm young enough, so it's like I'm not.
What are you, 42?
43. So like Amazon, I don't care if Amazon goes down. It's coming back. Like the Amazon's fucking what's Bezos, Shopify, like those stocks.
You had an Amazon warehouse in your apartment.
Correct. Yeah. So those stocks, I have zero fear or anything like that of. The ones that I'm risking on, like the energy cars and shit like that. Not the Teslas, but like the younger ones. And even like I said, I don't think anyone knows this space. The gambling, I will be safe, but I think the majority, it's a race to the bottom for a lot of I think there'll be a ton of consolidation in the online gambling space.
That's fair. Last question. Every Saturday, I eat Domino's, mainly because it's just super.
You do?
Every Saturday. Every Saturday.
For real?
For real.
Where do you live?
In New York. 44th and 3rd.
What do you do?
What do you mean?
What, like, you're sitting here with me. Like, I saw your, like, what do you do?
Domino's is the inflection point?
Well, it raises credibility issues. So, like, it does. If that's, like, what you're eating.
Well, what I was going to ask, it's just every Saturday, one meal. And I was going to ask where, I'm assuming that you've done a pizza review for it. Domino's?
Yeah, it's not good.
No?
No. That's why it raises credibility issues.
Where did do you remember what you ranked? How many times do you think you've eaten Domino's in the last year? Over, under, 5 times.
Did I do Domino's? I can't remember. The
total, Domino's stock outperformed Amazon.
The total would be half. Well, the pandemic was very good.
No, the last 5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Really? Domino's outperformed Amazon?
Crushed it.
That sounds impossible.
I'm going to show you a...
Domino's outperformed Amazon? I don't believe that.
Here's why. Because the mobile ordering, they've absolutely crushed it.
I don't believe that, though.
All right. Well, when I show you, you're going to go buy Domino's stock now. Here. Look at this fucking chart. Domino's.
Well, you're showing me stuff, but all right, that's a good chart, but I still...
That's from 2010 to 2018. So 8 years. Absolutely crushed Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google.
So you didn't answer, though. What do you do?
I do a bunch of stuff.
All right, what?
Invest. Build a company.
What company?
I've got a whole digital content thing.
Okay. So right now, these are vague answers. So are you like a professional?
I'm here to ask you questions.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is it?
So I've got a couple of funds, right, that I invest, all early stage technology.
Are you just an investor? Is that what you say? Professional investor?
Yeah, so I invest.
So what's like your net worth? Are you rich?
Huh? Rich enough.
Are you richer than me?
No.
Okay.
But
where'd you make your money at?
Where?
How?
Investing and then
starting. Like you just took your own money and started
investing. Oh, no. I did other things. I worked at Facebook and other places, stuff like that too. But and then I've got a podcast, got an email.
Like I'm on it right now.
You're on it right now.
Correct.
Top 10 tech podcasts in the U.S.
Got it.
And then those obviously very good business to be in.
That's what, by the way, I always like the Ross Gerbers of the world. Do you like him?
Huh? I'm cool with everybody.
He's a cock, and a used car salesman. But I love guys like, what'd that guy do?
What guy?
Is he just
but here's the thing, right? So,
but did he ever do like guys like that who chirp at me? It's like, dude, what are you talking? You
have to remember. So here's the thing: a lot of those guys, you got to remember, they have built businesses. It's just not the type of business
what he built.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The place that he built, right, is an asset management firm. Now, it's a completely different business than actually selling products or doing anything like that. But it's always a weird thing.
Those who can't do teach. We're like, what is this quote he said at me? Today.
This guy really got underneath your skin.
Well,
huh?
when you were coming in, I saw somebody tweet at me, be like, ask him about Gurr because he's on your show.
Oh, yeah, he came on the podcast. A bunch of the finance guys have.
Yeah, because, right. You know why? Those guys need fucking publicity. Because they got to fucking sell their junk bonds to fucking unknowing old ladies and steal their pensions.
You realize that their argument back would be that you're trying to get people to gamble.
Totally. But I'm honest about what I'm doing.
Yeah. But like that's also why it works.
This Ross Gerber. Penn Gaming issued a ton of stock, as we called that secondary from a mile away. Penn is out of money with 41 bleeding casinos. They used Dave to pump the stock, and now they're dumb. That's just a blatant lie. That's an absolute lie.
Did you respond?
My response was, hey, Ross, remember when you begged me to come on your podcast and I stuffed you in a locker? All right, you deleted it. He did delete it because you are a used car salesman who lies and cheats and deletes whenever they're wrong. You should be in jail for stealing hard people's life savings with the screenshot. He did ask me to come on. He's like, come on my podcast. I was like, hey, I have an idea. Suck my dick.
You realize that people in finance are not used to that type of reaction.
Well, this guy thinks I don't have a memory. Like, he called me an idiot for not, all right. So the only reason I know who he is, he reached out to me. He's like, basically in so many words said, you're too dumb to invest your money. Give it to me and I'll invest it. I've seen plenty of people like you make money and blow it. It's like, who the fuck is this guy? So I talked about it. Basically, like, who the fuck is this guy? And by the way, if you're out on Twitter trolling for people to invest, that's not who I want to invest with. I want to invest with people who I have to wine and dine them. That's who I want to give my money to. It's like, no, we don't want your money. Your money's no good here. Like, that's who I want to give my money, not some fucking junk bond guy who's like, hey, give me your money on fucking Twitter to a rando. Who would ever give your money to that? That's not how it works. Like, you got to find somebody who's so exclusive that they don't want more people. Not fucking Ross Gerber.
Do you have anyone who manages any of your money?
I have one guy, but it's like a collab issue. Yeah.
All right. But so you're not doing it all yourself?
No, I have a guy like JP Morgan.
Yeah, who like helps. Oh, you like work with the suits at the bank.
Yeah, I call him a suit.
He probably doesn't.
But again, it's the same way. Like, so
in an endearing way.
Yeah, there's somebody who like
do you send him emails? Hey, suit, will you?
If the stocks are down like the suits, you and your suits, you're fucking killing me. But he's actually been more conservative. He's like, you should sell. It's like, no, we're fucking push. But so there was a guy I know who started a hedge fund like through a friend or a friend, and it was the same words. Like, I'll try to introduce you. It was hard to find somebody I was comfortable with. Not fucking this guy who was wearing rent-a-tux on the fucking social media begging people.
Hold on. Go back to Domino's for a second. You don't remember if you did a review or not?
I actually thought I did it, but I think it's Pizza Hut. I don't think I've ever done it. Yeah, never done Domino's.
I'm telling you, you got. I'll order the pizza.
I mean, I've had Domino's.
No. Lately? Sober?
No.
Yeah, exactly. If you eat it sober, you're going to be shocked.
I don't.
Stocks outperformed.
I'll do a review.
All right, you do a Domino's.
That doesn't mean it's good.
Well, people keep buying it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Do you keep buying shitty pizza?
A lot of people would buy, like, there's plenty of shitty
No, but
food.
do you?
No, I don't.
All right.
But, I mean, you could use, there's plenty of stocks of food stocks I probably don't like, that, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I actually kind of, but fast food, I don't like McDonald's.
Oh, that's blasphemous.
Makes me feel bad. I mean, I like the taste. I don't like the after effects.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, but you enjoy it when you're eating it. Yeah, of course. That's what makes it great. All right. That's it, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.